Namaste, Shirish ji.
Namaste.
Thank you so much for this wonderful experience. It's been just a day, but yeah, it has generated a lot of curiosity in me and all other participants in this Yogakaar retreat at Anandlok in Rishikesh. Courtesy you, I really discovered this, but would really love to know a little bit more about how you thought about bringing out this beautiful concept of Yogakaar, how the journey has been so far, what are you looking at as a future plan. So maybe this chat, this walk that we're having towards the Ganges might be a good opportunity to discover that.
No, in fact, the very idea of having this retreat is to create a complete awareness of such a beautiful experience which this land Rishikesh has treasured since thousands of years, and calling the people like you that who knows that they want to explore much more deeper. And when I say deeper, it is all about creating an experience of being with nature. So at Yogakaar, we had always thought of creating something which is much more holistic, something more profound, but at the same time, it should be having a holistic relevance vis-a-vis the lifestyle which we are living today. So even the Yogakaar concept has come up with different aspects of holistic living and wellness living, where the main fulcrum is yoga, and hence the name Yogakaar.
Fantastic. Shirish, I can clearly see, there must be a meaning behind picking this venue, and would be really nice to know what prompted you to pick this place in context of Yogakaar.
So you're very, your curiosity is very well placed, because when we were thinking about the experience journey, the wellness journey, we came up the concept of Aranya. And now people misinterpret Aranya because the Aranya is also referred as forest.
Right.
But then one is also referred as forest, or vanvas is referred as forest dwelling.
Correct.
But Aranya is a different aspect at all. When you are talking about Aranya, it was or it is a concept of living with the forest ecosystem and having a synchronization of your internal system with the entire forest living.
Correct. I would like to, really add something here.
Yeah.
That there is a very famous experiment that was done in Japan about forest walking.
Yeah.
When I was doing some research during the COVID experience, I found out this brilliant research which clearly established that when people were studied with regards to their immunity during their time spent in forest, so there were like two bunch of people. One bunch was sent to a city and the another bunch was sent to forest. The immunity indicators like the mast cells, the T lymphocytes, etc., which gives innate immunity, they were markedly raised in people who went for the forest walk.
Yeah,
and it stayed like that for 29 days. So I think it's really interesting how you are relating the concept of coexisting with forest in context of human existence, or human wellness, to be more appropriate.
And such experiments are well documented and well having a good credibility towards it.
Right.
And that is what we are replicating here, and that is not something new which is there. Only thing that we have just forgotten that.
Correct.
Planning our vacations and planning our vacations in the forest sites and or the hill sites and all.
Right.
So I was in search of that place where the forest ecosystem meets the general comfort of the people as well, so that it should be reachable enough, but it should be cut off from that urban disturbances as well.
True. And if I look at it, my personal experience over the last few days, I think the whole purpose of me and the others who have joined this retreat is less to do it like a sightseeing.
Yes.
But it's more about experiencing a personal change with the connect with the forest.
Obviously.
Right? So, that's like a beautiful concept, but I would like to really know more.
So this particular part of Rishikesh,
yeah.
So when we talk about, say, Rishikesh for that matter,
correct.
Rishikesh has always been a source of my inspiration, because I had been to Rishikesh many a times, And this Rishikesh had been a witness of a lot of transformative change since thousands of years to the yogis.
Right.
And hence each mountain of Rishikesh is marked by different yogis. Now the place which I have selected for
Yeah.
Rishikesh Aranya retreat is
Yes.
a yogi who was one of the main profounder
Okay.
of interpretation of Sankhya.
Sankhya. Yeah.
Sankhya philosophy.
Right.
And he was one of the greatest yogi of his era, to such an extent that we all know about the constellation Big Dipper.
Yeah.
So the last portion of the Big Dipper acts like a question mark. So in Indian astronomy, Big Dipper is not that important, but the last part of it, which is a question mark,
Yeah.
which is called a Saptarishi,
Right.
that is of immense importance. So these 7 stars which make that constellation, out of that one star is named by a rishi or named on a rishi, Vasishtha.
Right. Right.
He was very prominent transformative change in the entire philosophical and the yogic system of India itself.
Right. Right.
This place
Yeah.
is the place of Vasishtha, who had meditated here.
So that's why the Vasishtha Gufa.
That's why there's a gufa here. There's a cave here
the
where
cave,
he did some part of his sadhana here.
Right.
And this cave was very well preserved by the lineage of that particular rishi.
Yeah, and somebody was telling me, if you can see this, Ganga is so beautiful here. One of the co-participants just informed me that it's not far from here where Alaknanda and the
Yes.
other river, they
So in
merge
fact,
to.
when you say Ganga,
Yeah.
Ganga again is a very important factor in the spiritual upliftment of the people of India.
Right.
It has many factors about it. But when we say Ganga, Ganga doesn't originate as Ganga in Gangotri, which people used to feel about.
Right.
So what happens is in Gangotri, there's a glacier, Gangotri.
Yeah, right.
And there a stream, a very clear stream of river, which is called as Bhagirathi.
Bhagirathi.
That comes up.
Yes.
And there's another glacier, which is called as Satopant.
Okay.
And from that Satopant glacier, there's another stream, which is called as
Alaknanda, yeah.
which comes.
Yeah.
Now, during the course of the Alaknanda, there are 5 important rivers which merge there.
Right.
Mandakini and Pindari and other rivers.
Correct.
Finally, they both of these streams, the Alaknanda and the Bhagirathi, they meet together in a beautiful manner at Dev Prayag, which is almost 3 hours from here.
Right. Right.
And this is a beautiful sight because you can actually see 2 different temperaments
Colors.
of rivers,
Yeah.
2 different colors of river merging together to become Ganga.
Correct.
So this is kind of a place.
So
which
just
is-
like the way you have been describing how it's different elements merging,
Yes.
uniting to create yoga, and I think it has a lot of spiritual relevance as well.
in fact, that particular point where the Dev Prayag is there,
Yeah.
it is also called as Trikuti.
Trikuti.
That
yeah.
means there are 2 streams which are merging together.
Correct.
In yoga, the same concept is used when the right nostril and left nostril
Yeah.
flow, which is Chandra Dhara and Surya Dhara.
Right.
They merge together at eyebrow center.
Correct.
So from that particular part, this entire land has become a land of spiritual seekers.
Shirishi, of course, I have a bias because I know you for 15 years. There have been many moments in my life where you have been very helpful in getting back that focus for me. But one question that comes to everybody in today's world where yoga is so commoditized, like the Western interpretation of it as a purely physical thing. And in India, there's a lot of enigma and magic associated with it. How did you come about this concept of Yogakaar and why is it different? Why should people connect with or seek their journey through Yogakaar vis-a-vis wide bouquet of other offers available?
See, basically, I always look all the interpretations of yoga which has been there in so far in the world. That's beautiful interpretations. Means they are like different rivers, different streams.
Right.
But they are at all just one stream at a time.
Correct.
But somehow these all should merge into one holistic river. And that
Right.
is what yoga is all about. So point is that nowadays, as you had correctly said, that yoga is too much commoditized in a manner that it is just either taken as a physical science.
Yeah.
Basically, that is a asanas part.
Yeah.
Or many of us relate to yoga as a meditative science,
Yeah.
relating to some of the breathing practices or some just becoming silent and watching your breathing, and that's it.
Correct.
But what about that immense depth of yoga which is still there, which is waiting for us with lot of potentials of wellness ingrained in it?
Correct.
So, in fact, I used to get a lot of insights from the people while in due course of my yoga learning and yoga seeking.
Yeah.
And I found that everyone's interpretation is based on someone else's interpretation.
Correct.
For example, about say 100 and 200 years back, when Westerners used to come in India during the time of the British era,
Raj, yeah.
British Raj, they didn't have that much of time to spend in yoga, but they were fascinated about yoga.
Yeah.
So they used to go to a guru and always say there are 8 different limbs of yoga. The yamas, niyamas, asana, pranayam, pratyahar, dharana, dhyan, samadhi, and that is together called as Ashtanga Yoga.
Correct.
By the time they learn asana, their stint in India is over.
Over, yeah.
Now they go back and they say, oh, I'm teaching Ashtanga Yoga. But what they end up is teaching asana.
Correct.
And that has become a foundation in Europe.
Correct.
And then in the other part of India. So what is there? Now there are 2 worlds now. The yoga in India and the yoga interpretation in the Western mindset.
True.
Now this Western mindset interpretation came back to India.
Yeah.
And now very few people are there who are still retaining that essence of yoga in it.
Yeah.
So now we have started Yogakaar as a platform which is very profound in nature and that is holistic in nature. So when we say yoga, it means yoga by its definition. Yoga means yuj. It comes from a derivative of yuj, which means union. So there are different aspects of our being. There's a physical aspect called Annamaya Kosha.
Right.
There's our mental aspect, which is called as Manomaya Kosha.
Yeah.
Then there's energy aspect, which is called as Pranamaya Kosha.
Right.
There is the psychic aspect, which is called as Vijnanamaya Kosha. And then there's a spiritual aspect, which is called as Anandamaya Kosha. So when all these 5 koshas join together and work in a synchronicity, in a harmony, then it is called as yoga, then it's called as union. But other than that, there's a behavioral aspect, there's environmental aspect, there is an intellectual aspect, there's emotional aspect.
Correct.
So the yoga is something which cannot be defined just by the movements and asanas and difficulty of the practices. I have seen people who define intermediate yoga, beginner yoga, advanced yoga on the basis of how difficult asanas can be performed by you.
Yeah.
But if you actually see the yogis here, say I was talking about Vasishtha, perhaps he might not be able to, or might he not need that to perform Vrishchikasana or the scorpion pose or the headstand and stuff like that.
True.
So what is the true essence of yoga? To bring out that essence of yoga, Yogakaar was conceptualized. The moment we say Yogakaar, it means there's a word which is called as Shilpkar, who makes the sculpture out of stone.
Yeah.
There's a word called Swarnakar, that means one who makes the golden jewelry out of gold.
Yeah.
Yogakaar is making the entire yogic environment out of yoga, and hence it is Yogakaar.
And we have had these conversations between us and with others also when you had come to Hong Kong kindly to sort of, like I would say, give that Yogakaar experience to some of the seekers who had heard about Yogakaar through me, through my experiences during the COVID restrictions when you helped me with my Zoom sessions and you were kind enough to come. I realized one thing, that there was a very common question where people wanted a very simplified shortened version and you very beautifully explained why that's probably not the ideal thing to do in any form of yoga, because we should look at it as a continuous journey and keep building on the smaller experiences, but don't look at small summary experiences which might not be giving the adequate thing. So that probably prompted me to take a week off from my work and really come to this retreat, because even to get that summary experience you need to have some amount of commitment of time and openness. So how do you look at Yogakaar, like evolving over the next few months and years?
So you're correct in what you have said, that unless you are experiencing a bit of it in your personal time space, you cannot understand these things just merely by reading about it. So we are coming up with different kinds of short and long experiences as well. But short experience with not the promise that this is the complete experience in itself. Rather, it is a kind of invitation to you to experience something which is going to be much more deeper.
Right.
So we have a program called Spandan, So these are the short duration program, which will be built across the webinar sessions, physical retreats, 1-day retreat, 2-day retreat, 3-day workshop, 1-day workshop, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And then
we had Spandan in Hong Kong.
We have Spandan in the Hong Kong.
And the webinars also, right?
And I was so much, happy to see the kind of participation you and your colleague and your and other community people.
Yeah.
They had such a kind of a great experience, because they could understand that even those 4 hours which we had spent, they could experience the yoga in different layers and different levels.
Yes.
At the physical level, emotional level, psychic level, spiritual level.
Yeah.
Using the practices which are not so popular.
Correct.
But I must say they are basic. So there are difference between popular and basic. Sometimes even the basic practice doesn't get popular.
True.
So even those basic practices had brought a lot of internal solace to them.
Right.
And a motivation to go much more deeper.
So Spandan is primarily the introduction to understanding yoga in dimensions and experiences, and also Yogakaar. But I understand that you have also thought of a few other programs.
Yes.
So if you can elaborate a bit.
So one is the Spandan, which will be kind of a short duration program.
Yeah.
Then second is a touch program of retreats, which you are in right now here.
Aranya.
Which is Aranya.
Yeah.
Aranya is one of an exclusively well-tailored, well-made, well-customized program, and as per customized for your personal well-being, where you will be living a complete holistic lifestyle, rich of wellness, in a forest environment which is enriched by the wellness quotients, with our experts who are experts in yoga psychology for that matter,
correct.
experts in nutrition for that matter, experts in Ayurvedic concepts for that matter. And you'll be living that entire lifestyle where you'll be sinking day by day. For example, we are doing this Aranya retreat in Rishikesh in such a manner that your 1 day is that of earth, the second day is that of water, and then fire, and then space, and then air, and so on and so forth. So day by day you are building up your harmony with different elements vis-a-vis your behavioral pattern and your eating habit, your practice habits as such.
Shirishji, thanks a lot for bringing to this heavenly place on the Ganges. It's like a virtual sea beach, and beautiful Ganges and the mountain hills. I think I could not have asked for anything more in this trip.
Yes, actually this is very carefully chosen, because this particular place in the entire this belt, which is Pauri Garhwal, this is kind of a place where the element of that hillock or mountain, the forest, the river, and the sand that merge very well together. One current of the river Ganga is going widely there, but the another current of Ganga is coming back silently here. So this is the land, or this is the piece where you will immediately experience a sudden calmness and connect with the nature.
True.
And that is what we used to curate, and all the experiences which we curate in Aranya, they are made in such a manner that it is well researched, keeping the topography and the place in mind.
Correct. So I understand, there is a very specific relevance coming to this part of Rishikesh, but I got to know that the next retreat is in Ladakh. And you have shared your experiences of exploring Ladakhi healing practices, Sobha Rekpa, and the monastery there, and how you connected. It would be interesting to know a little bit about the next one in Ladakh, because I'm very keen to be there.
In fact, I love to welcome you there. And Ladakh is a very special place because of 2 reasons. One is that Ladakh is in the region of Trans-Himalayas. So the entire topography, the kind of texture of mountains, flora and fauna is completely different.
Right.
Means at times you'll find the cold deserts in Ladakh.
So which month are you planning the Ladakhi?
We are planning in July.
Okay.
And that is one of the most convenient, comfortable, and tourist friendly and approachable. Month
so the travel there. And all would be easy, so people can actually plan it right now.
Of course.
Because there are a few months left.
Yeah.
So this is like July 2023.
And they'll find themselves literally in heaven. Basically those who have those artistic eye to see.
Right.
Because the kind of mountain which is there. Now, we are right now in Rishikesh.
Correct.
So these are the Garhwal mountains, and these are the range of the Himalayan range. But the kind of mountain which is visible there in the Himalayas or Trans-Himalayas, they're extremely different. Vegetation is less,
Yeah.
but they are basically the newer mountains.
Right.
So each segment of mountain,
Yeah.
as if it is made by an artist. Every 500
I've
meters,
seen those videos of your
every
last
500
visit.
meters, it is like made up of an artist.
Yeah.
Second is that those Himalayan mountains, nowadays there is approach road.
Right.
Earlier, it was completely cut off.
Correct.
Because of that, the entire life culture
Yeah.
is extremely different from what we have seen now.
Yeah.
The people, the culture, the village
Yeah.
has adopted so very well to that arid region
Yeah.
that it is each segment of wellness
Right.
is internally and traditionally kept alive.
Correct.
So for example, when I was there, means I had worked in my previous experiences
Correct.
as the wellness directors to different companies, where I was researching into different aspect of wellness
Yeah.
and making their wellness centers, spas. So I was doing a research for a wellness project in Ladakh,
Yeah.
and I made sure that my wellness project will translate the Ladakhi culture of healing
Right.
into the wellness centers there.
Yeah.
And
so
for
what you're attempting through Aranya programs is to give a very authentic local experience,
Definitely.
yet within the parameters which are yogic, well researched,
Yes.
and gives a holistic experience.
Holistic experience and authentic as well. For example, when we think about wellness culture in India, the authentic wellness culture in India,
Right.
the first thing comes in our mind is Ayurveda.
True.
And definitely I am fond of Ayurveda
Yeah.
as well. But the Ayurveda, major part of Ayurveda doesn't work in Ladakh
Yeah.
because the entire ecosystem is different.
Ecosystem, the topography, the flora, fauna, as you said,
Completely
might not
different.
suit. So you have to suit it to the
So,
locally available.
about say 1500 years back or 2000 years back, the same Ayurveda got evolved into a different segment
Uh-huh.
of a very rich culture of healing.
Yeah.
That is called a Soba Rikpa.
Yeah.
So when I was there as a project director,
Uh-huh.
I made sure that I learned this Soba Rikpa.
Yeah.
Who is the best person to learn from?
So you
So
learned
the-
it from the Namchis.
Amchis.
Amchis. Okay. So that's what, like a
Yeah. So it is a kind of a same name as Vaidyas.
Vaidyas, the Amchis. Okay.
The Amchis.
Yeah.
And these are the Amchis who are well respected in that particular village.
Yeah.
Almost every village has an Amchi. And these Amchis had learned the Soba Rikpa from their fathers, forefathers.
Correct.
So I went to these villages, spoke to these Amchis, and each Amchi know the tree and plant
Yeah.
as if they are knowing a person.
Correct.
So for example, we know how our grandfather react
Yeah.
when he'll be scolding us,
Yeah.
how our mother react when she is caressing her.
The beauty of natural healing is that the local understanding of your
Herbs,
connect with nature.
connect with nature.
Because I've seen that even in Koraput, the tribal Adivasi healers, they can just pick the flowers or the leaves or the roots and they know the healing value of it.
Yeah. So basically, Ladakh is also a land of spirituality
Yeah.
and seekers.
Right.
There are different monasteries. In fact, every mountain or hill
Yeah.
in Ladakh
Yeah.
is a base of a monastery.
Correct.
So I was basically blessed, maybe because of my previous karmas. I worked there.
Yeah.
And then the Rinpoche,
Yeah.
the revered Rinpoche of Thikse Monastery,
Yeah.
I got blessings from him.
Yeah.
His Highness Dalai Lama,
Yeah.
I got blessings from him.
Correct.
And when they knew that I'm researching on something which is very well relevant
Yeah.
in bringing up the ancient techniques of healing,
Yeah.
so they had assigned few people who are most learned people in this particular aspect.
Yeah.
So I spent some time with them, considerable duration of time, to learn those practices.
So if I have to ask you, like sharing a few points that the seekers who are wishing to go to the Ladakh retreat of Yogakaar can expect, what would they be?
So they will expect that when they enter into Ladakh,
Yeah.
they'll immediately feel a change in their definition of mountains.
Okay.
they'll be more beautiful, more colorful. In fact, colorful definitely.
Yeah.
And a change in the air quality itself.
Yes.
Since the Ladakh has thin air,
Yeah.
your entire body system prepares itself for thin air.
Correct.
So definitely for one day you have to
Acclimatize.
acclimatize yourself.
Yeah.
But the moment you get acclimatized,
Yeah.
then you feel the richness of the wellness which is there.
Yes.
There. So on one day we'll be going towards the river,
Yeah.
which is beautiful river.
Yeah.
Another day we'll be going to the height of a mountain.
Yeah.
The third day we'll be also going to a place which is one of the chosen place in the entire earth as the place to see the heavenly bodies, astronomical observations.
Correct.
Means the most beautiful sight there is that you are there in the evening
Yeah.
and just watching the sky.
Yeah.
Most of the time you are able to see the Milky Way
Wow.
and an entire stretch of Milky Way, and that itself is a deep meditative experiences.
Right.
And then amidst these topographical features,
Yeah.
you are doing some authentic yoga and meditation practices, which are actually the practices done by either yogis or the actual yoga masters.
Correct.
So even 7 days when you come back, you'll be coming back with deep impressions of health and well-being and a deep connect with the mountains and deep connect with the nature, which will be there with you for a long period of time.
Yes.
And your understanding towards the rituals which you should follow in your day-to-day routine, that will be so enhanced that you can be able to use those rituals
Yeah.
whenever it is needed.
Yeah. So as a seeker, as a student trying to benefit from your wisdom, what I can understand is that for somebody who has come to this retreat, there's a lot of new thing there.
Lot of new things there.
Right?
And base is same.
Correct.
Wherever you go, the base will remain the same.
Correct. Correct.
But on the top of that base, what is the premises you are building up?
Yes, the context.
The context.
Yeah.
That will be a completely a new experience.
Yeah.
As if you have seen something once in a lifetime.
True. And what I was thinking also is that even if somebody is coming there who hasn't come here, it's a very mutually exclusive experience.
These two experience the Aranya Himalayas
Yeah.
and Aranya Trans Himalayas.
Yeah.
They are completely different experiences.
Different experiences. Yeah.
In fact, I will encourage people who have come here like you
Yeah.
to also experience Aranya Trans Himalayas,
Correct.
because this goes as an addition
Yeah.
to your understanding, not understanding here,
Yeah.
but your previous understanding
Yes.
about the wellness, your own point of application.
Correct.
There are many things which is there in our subconscious mind.
True.
We have learned it through our mother, grandmother, grannies, but
Yeah.
we have not implemented it.
Shirish ji, as we are returning from the banks of Ganga on our concluding day of phase 1, I can experience a lot of connect with the nature. So how do you like decipher that or interpret that?
No, that was an intention of that, and intentionally we created that kind of an environment. But more important was, other than the connect with nature, important is that even the nature is taken in two different forms. The external nature, which we say Prakriti, which is the environment around you. And then you say your nature, that means how you behave. And both of them interact together. So when we are returning from our process of connecting ourselves with outer and internal nature, you can see that during our walk, you can experience the flow of water. You can experience the sound of water.
We can still experience that.
You can still experience that.
Yeah.
But not only that, when we talk about the Indian definition of wellness, it also talks about using all the senses in the best possible manner. So water,
just for the listeners,
Yeah.
I would like to clarify that we are recording this as we are walking along the in a forest trail along the Ganges. So whatever sounds you are hearing is all natural.
they
so
are all
please,
natural.
Yeah, please, Shirish.
And when we talk about our experience in the forest, it talks about earth, which signifies the attribute of gandha, that means smell.
Yeah.
So while we are walking through the
Yes.
forest, not only sound,
It's a
You
very
can also-
nice earthy
yeah.
smell. Yeah.
And then when you use your awareness, you'll find that you can also isolate and
Differentiate.
differentiate
Yeah.
different kinds of smell.
Correct.
Say the earthy smell, then the smell of the plants,
Plants. Yes.
even the smell of cow dung.
Cow dung. Yes. And like many other other type of domestic animals. Yeah.
So what happens is that in the environment of the retreat, the aranya, for example, aranya means forest,
Yes.
which is rich in giving you this kind of natural sensory inputs.
Correct.
You are using your mind accordingly
Yes.
without the artificiality of the urban sensory inputs.
True.
So you are restructuring your senses.
Yes.
There is a reason that earth element has been associated with gandha,
Yeah.
because the gandha or the smell of fragrance helps you to identify the reality, the dangers,
Yes.
the threats. In fact, animals, how do they recognize you? How do you know that this particular animal doesn't
It's
take
not-
you as a threat
Threat. Yeah. Non-threatening.
or non-threatening? By your
Yeah.
actions,
Yeah.
but before than that, by your gandha. Then similarly, there are different sounds which are associated with the space element. There are different touch sensations. When you are walking through, you can feel the touch of your leaves.
Yeah.
We were there in the bank of Ganga. How often we feel the touch of the sand in our hand, the granules of the sand in our hand. In fact, nowadays we have completely got drifted apart for the sensory of touch, because the only touch we know is the touch screen.
Yes.
But when we are reliving those natural touch sensations,
Yes.
you are reassociating your reprogramming of your mind, which is related to the air element, Vayu,
Yes. If
which
I
in
can,
turn is emotional element.
correct. Personally, if I can say this connect I am having individually with the nature, I get a feeling I'm doing it almost after 2 decades.
Obviously. In fact, that is the response of almost all the participants of the retreat. Because
Yeah.
such kind of a pure nature environment, but then how it is different from the natural tourism.
Yes.
So you also go
As
in
a
the nature-
tourist to
as
many,
a tourist to
many,
many places.
places, but,
But
yeah.
then you are not structuring yourself vis-a-vis the nature.
Yes. There's a very conscious effort to connect us
In a very systematic
in
and
a
gradual
systematic way, and also giving us the realization how the connect is happening.
How the connect is happening, and then
Yes.
how you will be implementing when you go back.
Correct.
It's not just one time effort and you feel pleased about it, and then
Absolutely.
everything is remaining there in your photos.
True.
So that is what we are doing, and understanding the emotions clearly. So it is not the touch, but you are also exploring with the help of touch of the plant, touch of the grain of the sand, touch of water. We ended this session in the river Ganga
Yes.
by touching the water.
Yes.
I could clearly see one of the participants becoming emotional.
Yeah.
That may be a bias thing because they have a deep connect with Ganga.
Ganga. Yes.
But even those biases help us
Help us to
to restructure our emotions associated with the touch,
absolutely.
which in our too much of urban life,
Yes.
emotions have been taken over by just the reactions.
Yes. So, as we conclude this podcast, I understand that this is the first of the many retreats to come in India. You had a good 1-day retreat in Hong Kong as well. So, maybe it would be nice for all the listeners to keep a watch on the website of Yogakaar, which is yogakaar.com, and then just understand the schedule of future events. I understand the next one is coming in Ladakh in July, so probably just like me, there might be many people interested to join that and get a connect with nature in a different way. So thank you, Shirish ji, for all the lovely wisdom we have been sharing to all of us as participants, but especially today summarizing it beautifully for those who could not attend and hopefully can attend in person in the coming retreats. So thank you so much. Namaste.
Even I am thankful for that, for all the participants who have attended that, all the participants who are future participants who have this deep desire of restructuring their wellness in a much more authentic, scientific and deeper manner. And I'm very much looking forward to having more seekers and more serious seekers and even those who are just kind of exploring this space of wellness. Thank you so much.